Welcome to Crossroads and Callings. Today we are talking about the kind of crossroads that isn't about leaving a path, but about finally merging two different paths of passion and profession until they create something much greater. My guest today, Mickey Bryant, is a powerhouse whose career arc is defined by her ability to see connection where others see separation. Mickey spent decades mastering instructional design, so we'll talk about what that is. And then from there, she converted her deep passion for the craft brew industry that led to her first major calling of founding Black and Brew Chicago, which is a nonprofit dedicated to driving diversity and education in the craft brew industry. Building on that foundation is even more because she does a lot of things. Building on that foundation, she was able to blend the foundation of community, education, and opportunity. And she recently established herself as the chief AI strategist at BAB AI Solutions, LLC, which helps organizations leverage technology to amplify human potential. And she's also been using AI to create merchandise. We have the shirts that we have on. So I'm looking forward to having a conversation with Mickey about merging both purpose, passion, profession to equate profit. Welcome to the show, Mickey.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Chimere.
That was a long bio, I know.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I was like, I hope I covered all the important parts.
You did. No, you did.
Yeah. Well, Crossroads and Callings starts now. Okay, I really want to start with you explaining what an instructional designer is, because you are one of the few people that have such a passion for your profession. There's a lot of people that work day to day, but they don't really like their job.
Right.
And you are the only person I know that likes and really enjoys and really speaks passionately about instructional design. So I really want to start with what you do, because what you do fuels into everything else that you do. Right.
So if you're an instructional designer, what you do is you create, whether you're in a corporate or academia, you create learning materials and curriculums for usually adults. You can be an instructional designer at more of a grammar level, but I've always worked in the corporate. So when you see any of the human resources, the training through learning solutions, any training, any upskilling, anything like that, an instructional designer works with subject matter experts to find out what the problem is, find out what they need, design learning, come up with learning goals, and then you measure and take different technologies, and you fill those gaps with those different technologies that make it easier for them to learn something quicker.
Yeah, okay.
And then we do like the assessments, we do the HR pamphlets. So it just, whatever, my whole goal, my whole job, my whole life, everything I do every day is to try and uplift somebody, advance somebody, because usually people are coming for upskilling to get a better position or something like that.
Yeah.
So
with so many layoffs, there is this notion of upskilling and reskilling so that people can diversify really their brand in their educational portfolio. For those people that may be experiencing layoff, what is the process to upskill or reskill so that they're more marketable?
What I would advise now is to take at least 15 to 20 minutes a day. You can get inundated with AI, but I would say maybe choose a couple that you're comfortable with, because there's such a range. Just like any profession, you can be in one business and it's 1,200 different departments. But to leverage and make yourself a little bit more marketable at this point, you're going to have to understand how to use AI in your daily living, whether it is to help with automation as far as doing the emails, or if it's to help with having custom digital AI assistants, just to learn some facets, some part of AI, because that is going to be that needed skill moving forward.
Yeah.
And it's also going to be a space where you can actually start your own businesses much easier.
Yeah,
'cause you
we'll
can
talk about how you started your own businesses, but just to like close the loop on that, I'm a black techie, as you know, I've been in tech for 13 years, and then you were able to upskill and learn AI yourself. But there are a lot of people, especially those that are more senior in their professions,
Mhm.
that have a fear of AI. I hear it all the time.
Yeah.
As someone with an instructional design background, how do you help others circumvent that fear?
Well, one thing I do is I offer workshops because that fear is there,
Yeah.
right? But you have to look at AI as your friend, as your marketer. So, say you just now said, "Hey, I'm a tech person." You can literally use AI to do the analysis of the job market. What skills do I have that I can start my own business? How do I do that? You talk to AI just like you're talking to a person,
Hmm.
but you're going to ask them specific, and that's where prompting comes in. And you make sure that you're doing the proper prompts, and you're asking them, I'm a person in tech. This is what I want to do.
Hmm.
These are the skills that I have. Can you give me maybe the top 10% jobs or new businesses that are being founded around this? AI will do the analysis and the research for you.
Yeah.
So use AI right now to do the analysis and find out what the market looks like versus you going to another job. Maybe this is your redirection to start your own business, which kind of what you're doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But use AI to get you to where you want to go.
Let's talk about that, because you were able to first become a very established instructional designer.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, I remember when we first met, I've known Mickey for about a little over 10 years, probably more than 10 years at
Yeah.
this point. She had this passion for craft brew, craft beer, excuse me. She had a passion for craft beer. I am not a beer drinker. But from her passion, she was able to get me to try new things. And I feel like convincing your friends to try craft beer was somewhat of the foundation for Black and Brew Chicago. But could you help us build the connection between being an instructional designer and then establishing Black and Brew? Yeah.
Okay, so what happened? First, I have to just go back to how I got into. So I've been drinking beer all my life, right?
Yeah.
We started off with Old English. We went down there, Mickey's, all this good stuff, But I got into craft beer. I'm not going to get into that long story. Maybe in 2002,
Yeah.
I was introduced to it. So it's not like I ever went out and said, "Oh, I want to learn how to drink craft beer." It just happened because one of my friend's husband happened to be a marketing director in a company, and I started going to events with them. So my palate slowly changed.
Mm.
Here, coming back to the Midwest, maybe a few years being here, maybe 2010, then this huge craft beer boom comes, and everybody thinks they're doing beer. You find in breweries all over the place when there's maybe one or two.
Mm-hmm.
So you have all these breweries, and coming from Houston, I had been the only Black person for the most part in the breweries, but I didn't pay attention to it because I was never treated poorly. So nothing ever clicked. So when we were in a professional group, a couple of people, when we would go out to, like the Bears games and different things at the taverns, people would see me asking these people about certain beer. And a couple of people asked, can they come with me to breweries? And so I said, okay, we did that. And one of the employees, and I'm, of course, not going to name the place, one of the employees took a picture of us and posted, "This is what diversity looks like." And
what did they
I said,
mean
"No,
by
ma'am."
that? And were you offended because they took a picture without your permission?
Right. Well, she did ask me could she take the picture, but I'm thinking she's taking the picture for the brewery, because a lot of times they do that to take a picture to just show different events and different people at the
doing
brewery.
tours and breweries. Yeah,
absolutely. That's what I thought.
Where was this posted?
It was posted on her personal account, but the brewery itself was like, yeah, all the people up under it. And then I just, being me, I said, absolutely not. This is what a few Black people in your brewery looks like. If we want to talk about diversity, then we can talk about diversity and have a conversation about that.
So she used you to kind of highlight diversity, quote unquote,
Right.
but it wasn't diversity. It was just you
Right.
and a couple people hanging out at a brewery.
Right.
How did you scale that back?
So I ended up going, at that time, there were a lot of different craft brew festivals. And this one guy came up to me and he said, hey, they were looking at my sweatshirt. He was like, talk to me. I want to get some diversity in my brewery. So I went to him and that's where my instructional design was implemented. I put that into it. And I created a learning experience. So if you notice, when you all go to breweries, when you all used to go to breweries with me,
Yeah.
it wasn't us just going and drinking beer. It was us having the brewer explain to us what it was.
Right, the process.
The process. Then we get out and we have someone do the entire tasting. And then later on, as Black and Brew grew, then we also started getting more into just like different opportunities, because craft beer is a business, right? And so it's just like any other business. And we started educating on that business, but it was because I did the process of what I would do, analysis, and then go into creating a learning experience for the learners to come in here. So you could kind of see yourself there.
Yeah.
You could kind of see yourself being able to work within the industry, or something like that. So we made it way more robust. We started incorporating we started even incorporating the community gardens and just how it's attached and how it connects to community. So the agricultural sciences, the history, and all of these different things to enlighten people. It even started enlightening the breweries. Like, whoa, because prior to Black and Brew, they would have a couple of influencers come around, but they would just basically do blogs based off of, not to knock them at all, but they would do breweries based off of, to me, things that you already know. You know that you're the only Black person's brewery. But a person like me is, if I know that I'm the only person in this brewery, and I know that I want to see some change because this is a whole wide industry for people, what can I do to make people comfortable to come in here and see the opportunities within this industry?
So you used your instructional design to begin to build craft beer experiences with the breweries to encourage a diverse group of people, really starting with your network, which was primarily like Black people, to learn about an industry that is primarily male dominated. It is primarily
white male dominated. It's primarily white male dominated, but that was the importance. And even when I wrote the course, that was the importance of me doing the education piece, because even though in America and around the country and around the world, the optic is white male dominated.
Yes.
But it is a royalty, and Black African women are the original brewers.
And I want to ask you that about, like, what is the history as to how people of color have been shut out? Because usually, like you said, the original brewers of beer were African women. Even when it comes to distillers, so that has it deeply rooted in African American culture as well. But yet we don't really have a seat at the table. Do you know anything about the historical background as to where the industry kind of shifted?
Well, that's just like anything else that we discover, that we do, and it becomes profitable. And then, we have people steal it and, make it profitable. And of course, put in place systems where we are kind of always asking to get back into industries or, different arenas that we created. And that is another thing, what was important to me, because a lot of Black people do not know that. And a lot of Black people started going to breweries and getting curious and different things after they knew that. Yeah. Because before that, everybody, just like you just now mentioned, thinks that it's just a white male dominated industry. They don't believe they belong. I even have friends that lived adjacent to breweries. They're like, no, we're not,
we don't belong there almost.
We don't belong there. Yeah. That's not our space.
Yeah.
But it is your space, right? But it does take time to find allies to be even interested in the history and to even acknowledge the history, because a lot of people didn't want to even acknowledge the history, to even agree to like robust education when it comes to Black and Brew. Like Black and Brew was the first people that brought in books.
Yeah.
You know?
We're going to talk about books because, like I said, Mickey did a good job of combining both her passion, which was craft beer, and then her instructional design. And in order to essentially create access and make people like me that didn't know the history of it aware, you begin to develop these brewery experiences that covered all the senses. So you would go through the understanding of they will walk you through the process of the beer creation, then you will taste it, and then sometimes we would do like beer pairings. But I did want to talk about like how you got to the creation of an actual book, because I think that's what diversifies Black and Brew Chicago from any other kind of craft beer group.
Mm-hmm. Right. So just like I was saying, as far as like one thing leads to the other. Once you are in your passion, you have like really, if you're a profession, you're really fortunate if your profession and your passion collide, and that literally created my purpose.
Yeah.
And so to separate, when I go into things, and I do always have on my instructional design cap, it is how do I make this experience interactive, engaging, and that would encourage curiosity and confidence. You don't have to come into a brewery just with me. There were some people just would come with me. Now they're just like sending me pictures, like, hey, I'm here. So what I ended up doing is creating a course, which led to a lot of networking, because that's another thing that it opens doors to is networking. Mm-hmm. And that which led into speaking engagements. And then that's when I met someone that worked at a community college, and I needed to write a course. I said I wanted my course to be different, mm-hmm. because the other courses that were not led by people of color in community colleges were showing the process of beer. And my thing is, everybody does not want to be a brewer.
Right.
Everybody doesn't want to be a brewer, but just because you're not a brewer doesn't mean brewing. One of the speeches I do is basically off of looking at a can of beer and just going off of, there was a Black person that did this can art. Mm-hmm. We got the honey from a Black organization. The brewers were Black. So there's so many different opportunities. So I wanted to stand out. And I always like to stand out, to separate myself, to give you a better learning experience. So that's why I wrote a course. Mm-hmm. Because I don't think, at least me, the way I learn is through history. So that's any kind of way. I put in this book, how was your relationship created with beer, right? Mm-hmm. And that gets the conversation going, because I was connected with beer because there was beer chasers for my grandmother and them. They were sitting on the porch with beer.
I was gonna say I had an uncle
right,
who was really into beer.
Right. And so beer in my family, except for my one uncle, mm-hmm. which he is Miller High Life. He's always telling me about Miller High Life. Miller High Life is still a beer that I always have in my refrigerator, because that's the 4 ingredients. But once you get the relationship of beer, and like even when in our book, the marketing is what I like people to see. Mm-hmm. So they always have used people in our community. So at that time, they used Billy D. Williams. He was the most popular, nice looking person. Yeah. So in what we start off is, how was your relationship? So that takes you back to your grandmama and them, your mm-hmm, uncles and them. Mm-hmm. And then we show the marketing and how the narrative was created in your mind about beer. So I'm going to go back to the Billy D. Williams. So the first thing in the class is they'll show he marketed Colt 45.
I remember that, malt liquor.
Colt 45 malt liquor is a strong beer. Get it for cheap. I never got into it myself, but it started off as a beer that was for the white elites. And they didn't want it because it was high in corn, which is like high in fructose. So it was really, has kind of a sweetness to it, but it got them drunk too fast. So that's why they like stuff like Busch, where you can have drink 60 cans and
It's
almost
still
halfway there.
socialized at the same time. Yeah.
So what they would use is Billy D. Williams. And at the time, the ladies had this flipped hair, and they would have Billy D. Williams with his tie on, like loose, and have this beautiful black woman with this bouncy hair leaning over his shoulder.
The Farrah Fawcett.
Yeah, the Farrah Fawcett leaning over his shoulder. And his tagline was "Works every time." So that would give it's shooting off the narrative that that marketing is so stereotypical. They want to sexualize black women anyways. They had this black woman, and that was to advertise beer. So most people would think, oh wow, you drink this beer and it works every time.
Yeah.
Right. And then I put up on side of that the marketing for the white community, which was 4 white guys playing pool with Miller High Life, and then their wives are sitting at a table pouring beer, looking out at radio flyers with the kids.
Yeah.
So they made it look like this social family thing.
Yes.
For them. So that's why a lot of times people be like, I don't like beer. Well, that's because it was Colt 45 and it works every time.
Yes.
And in my neighborhood where I grew up, there would be beer bottles busted, around, and, people drink the beer. And so we looked at it as 70 cents to 40. Mm-hmm. You drink it to get drunk, and it works every time.
I have a question for you really quickly. When was Black and Brew Chicago established?
So it was only me wearing sweatshirts in like 2015, 2016. It was established as an organization in 2018.
And then before kind of your establishment of your organization, what was the relationship between maybe some of these Chicago breweries and organizations of color, like visiting them? Did they have any frequent visitors from other organizations, or were you the first of its kind?
I was the first of its kind that asked them to be allies instead of, just tour guides. Mm-hmm. There weren't any groups that I could think of. There were several bloggers, and their thing was to get first releases of their beer and speak on that beer and just talk about the beer itself. So
it's more so marketing. It wasn't like your organization, which is like education experience.
Right.
I have a question for you, mainly about creating space at the table. Mm-hmm. A lot of people, there are different types of people where sometimes an opportunities just open for them and they can come in and have a seat. And then there's other opportunities and say like, yeah, you can come in, but you need to bring your own chair, like a kickback. You can come, but you got to bring your own chair. Right. And then there's other opportunities that you have to literally build from scratch. And Black and Brew Chicago is something that you built from scratch. Could you tell me about those beginning days where you were trying to create allies? Did you have any pushback? Did you run into any challenges with gaining access to certain breweries?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like anything. When you have a male-dominated, white male-dominated space, a lot of them are operating off of stereotypes, but a lot of them were used to the bloggers, right? And so the bloggers kind of worked for them in a way, right? Even though they would say different things, they would get the first releases, different things like that. So when I got into it, as far as pushback, absolutely. And there was pushback from both sides of the coin, not just the breweries. And
how did you overcome that?
Education. There was a couple of breweries that were willing, and they saw, because I would email them my outline. Yeah. And there was a couple of them that emailed back, and to this day, they're still the ones who are in my corner no matter what, because they understood the part about being an ally, offering the space, but leaning back enough to let me do the education part. And also offering their work. And then I had a few breweries that wanted me there, but their thing was they still were not educated enough. They still were thinking like, I've heard things like you people, I've heard some horrible things. I've had people go to the meetings, like we'd go to a meeting and they would send their black waiter to speak to me. I'm like, no, I would like to speak to the decision maker.
Yes.
Like I'm the whole decision maker of an
Yeah.
organization. No, I appreciate you being Black and all, but you got to keep on texting this person. So I had to really educate people. I had to deal with stereotypes. I had to deal with naysayers. I had to deal with people who wanted to do the right thing, right? But they just were so used to stereotypes. And one of the main stereotypes is thinking Black people just want stuff for free. I said, I'm bringing whole professionals in here that can buy probably half of the stuff in this table.
And we're willing to pay.
Right.
Right. And came to pay. Because we came to buy, to eat. So
I had to do I had to do a lot of Black history without being over, and that's how I got one of my speaking engagements, is because I did through instructional design. I created a sensitivity training, and the Illinois Craft Brewers Guild asked me to do that in lieu of George Floyd. So I was able to get hundreds of brewers on a call and do this sensitivity training where I basically put them in our shoes. And I would show them emails, because I like to kill myths too, because they always say, well, this is a woman. And I did exercises.
And you need data points too, because people, you can tell people your experience all the time, but until you have something concrete, they don't really buy into it. So you said you had real life emails and like almost like a case study then. It
was a case study, and I would give them, I would have some smiley faces and have some down faces, and I would have the people, after they got done doing it, and this is the aha moment, I would tell them, who do you think those emails came from, right? Male or female? Always. The nice ones, always, that's male. That's those, I know it's a woman because those are women. Nope. Every last one that said you people and all that kind of stuff came from women.
And so you were dispelling narratives and biases.
Narratives. And so they opened their eyes up. Once you like sort of put away some myths, then they even can see clear. Like, oh, okay, this is a lot going on here, right? And so like I said, I was very fortunate because Danielle Alex, there was this woman that was the head of the Illinois Craft Brewers Guild, and she had seen what I was doing, and she was like, yeah. And she also was a mentor and told me this person to go to, this person that she set it out before she moved out of the state.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had to do a lot of myths. I had to do a lot of Black history. I had to do a lot of different things to, like I said, on both sides of the coin.
I do want to take a moment, because that's a lot of groundwork to do, to not only work to have allies for your own organization, but then to show up in these primarily white male dominated spaces and essentially teach them. It was DEI training. Since you've been through that process, because you said Black and Brew came into inception in what year?
2018.
2018. How many breweries do you have partnerships with now?
The ones who are solid and have always been solid.
Yeah.
Do I say them or just
no? How many? It's just a number.
So it's 6 of them. That's completely. If they ever need anything from Black and Brew, if we ever want to do any collaborations, it is hands down. And they're the ones have led me to do community collaborations with community gardens.
Yeah.
They've even called their friends when I was in Europe,
to
look out for me, right? So it's 6 of them that are 100% solid all the time, but there are more. And I'm just going to tell you why it's only 6 at this point, is because like 7 of them closed.
Okay. And that probably has a lot to do with the pandemic. And them not recovering from the pandemic. Yeah, I do want to also get into how Black and Brew Chicago has evolved, because although its inception was here in Chicago, how has it expanded?
So it has expanded. Now we have 5.5. So
5.5
chapters. We have chapters throughout the Midwest and East Coast. We have Black and Brew Cleveland. It's run by my cousin and her husband. Black and Brew Delaware, Black and Brew Youngstown, Black and Brew Indy, and Black and Brew, of course, Chicago. Right now, we are finally got the paperwork that cleared, and we're going to be launching Black and Brew Columbus.
That's a lot. So congratulations to
Thank
you,
you.
because it definitely took on a life
Of its own.
of its own, that you
Yep.
have all these chapters. And then because you have a foundation in education, you're able to be consistent with your brand and what you represent.
Mm-hmm.
What is the link to AI? Because you have your instructional design. Let me just, like, we're going to walk through this. You had your instructional design. You had a passion for craft beer. You developed Black and Brew Chicago. Now you have like almost 6 different chapters now.
Mm-hmm.
You were able to establish essentially craft brew education from that.
Yeah, I wrote a course for
course
Chicago,
for what community school?
Chicago Community College.
Chicago Community College. And then the
City colleges.
City colleges, yeah, because there's a difference.
There is a difference, right?
And they'll let you know,
right? That's what I thought, because I've been corrected plenty of times.
There is a difference, and they will let
right.
you know. Which is amazing, of combining both passion and profession. But then you layered on like AI. Where did that come in?
So AI now, what we're doing is using AI as concierge. We building different micro apps in custom GPTs or digital assistants for each. Like if someone's having an event, Black and Brew Columbus is going to be probably one that's going to do a lot more AI, because that's a huge contract, and it's also going to, it's a huge connection, but it's going to also be a for-profit. So BAB AI Solutions and Black and Brew Chicago will be working with that, because they even have a lot of different programs going on already.
Yeah.
So we will be utilizing AI to make our organizations better, give us better ideas, because we have to think outside the box, because there's so many breweries closing, and there's no black brewery, a lot of black breweries, there's no brick and mortar here in Chicago.
Yes, I realized that. Yeah.
We have to do a lot, especially since after pandemic, a lot of the economy, we have to do a lot of stuff. So we have to rely a lot on AI, and what we were discussing with AI is using AI more as our business assistants, our analysts, to see what the needs is, do our needs analysis for us, do our reporting, and different things that we just wouldn't be able to now try and find funding, since they're taking so much funding away. We have to think of ways to use AI to fill those gaps. So.
Because the industry is changing so much, and like I said, you are one of the few people that have been able to intersect profession, passion, and just your desire to learn.
Oh yeah.
For someone that doesn't know how to merge the two, what is the first step they can take to even begin to combine both career and passion?
What I would say first is you have to like what you're doing, right?
Okay.
That's number
fair.
1. And if you don't like what you're doing, but right now that's just where you are, you have to understand how to regulate your emotions, how to really pay attention to the present, to appreciate whatever's before you, and then maybe analyze what you do. You might not like it, but it might be a nice skill that you can actually transfer into a project with AI. That's why I say use AI, and you talk to AI in a prompt. I could send you prompts and different things like that, but say, hey, this is what I do right now. This is what I want to do. This is the skill that I have. And, I'll show you how to do like the marketing. Say, hey, tell me what can I do with these skills?
I think that's brilliant, because especially people going through career changes, and you're trying to figure out what to do next.
Yeah.
Even considering AI, or even putting your resume into like a Gemini or ChatGPT. This is what I've been doing. What are some things that I can do next? Or what are some professions I can actually use these skills in, and kind of develop a path that way? I think that's a brilliant way to have AI work for you. But you spoke about something about regulating your nervous system, because you do a lot. You have your hands in a lot. And you and I have had that conversation. So I like talking to my listeners, yes, about professions, how to navigate their crossroads, but also how to deal with themselves as a person.
Right.
How are you able to regulate your emotions as you're making these transitions and combining both passion and profession, even in rooms that you necessarily weren't fully accepted into? Because of
Right.
course you're coming in as an outsider into an established industry that looked a certain way.
Mhm.
How are you staying grounded?
Oh yeah, well, for sure. I'm definitely into my form of meditation, and to me, and I always talk to you about this, regulating your emotions start with just unpacking just generational toxic behaviors. The way you think, uh, it'll say the energy that the energy goes, your life goes where your energy flows, where your energy flows, where your life goes.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever you put your energy into, that is what's going to happen to your life, right? So years ago, I got into um, studying how to regulate my nervous system and and I get into the neuroscience of it. So I really think about my brain and how I know how to train my brain to, because I'm normal. Like
Yeah.
I'm going to be like, what? And you've seen it. And so, I focus on regulating my nervous system. I read about it. I practice it. And I have gotten so good over the years, right? Because I've gotten rid of what's not serving me.
Yeah.
And it's easy to get rid of what's not serving you. And one time we were doing a practice like 22 years ago. One of my friends said, you're going to have to stop giving people, places, and things excuses to treat you poorly. Once you get past that, no matter who they are, right?
What does she mean about that? Giving them excuses to treat you poorly.
Right. So if somebody stands you up, or if somebody doesn't come through on something that you really needed them to do, or if somebody, like if I say, hey, Chimere, I have this idea about Black and Brew Chicago, and you'd be like, you know what, that ain't gonna work. And I would say stuff like, well, I mean, that's just the way they talk. They negative, whatever. Mm-hmm. You don't have. He was like, you don't have to be around that.
Yeah.
That is not a person who wants to see you excel. And he was much older than me. Mm-hmm. So I had to grow into what he was saying.
Yeah.
I had to study more and go into what he was saying. But once I started doing that, whether it was, because the universe will keep on serving you that same ball, mm-hmm, mm-hmm, until you get it, because they're not going to trust you to open that door of opportunity, that door of abundance, the door of anything, because if you bring it along the same package.
Yes.
And when he used to tell me that kind of stuff, I'm like, what? And when I started really studying it and started paying way more attention to my nervous system, reading several books, and I love this one author that's about neuroscience, right? And
what's the author?
Dr. James Doty.
And the book is
Mind Magic, and he has The Magic Shop.
Okay.
And Resma Menakem has one too that's about racialized trauma, but he talks about the nervous system. So even though I was studying the nervous system, those two books. And then there's one woman named Valera Wilson, mm-hmm, and she writes, You're Absolutely Worth It. And what she does is she makes you interview the people in your life, and you'll start seeing like, oh wait, you one of the people that should be here.
It made you start putting people out.
Right. Here's the door. But yeah, and you start thinking, because you have to realize that your personality is built on your environment that you grew up with for about 18 years, right?
Oh my goodness. That's an interesting book, because then you will start losing people, and then you look around and your whole circle has changed.
But you're not losing anybody. You are gaining peace. Whenever a person that, if somebody's not serving you well, right? I can talk to you and we can have conversations, but have you gotten to the point where you can respectfully, mm-hmm, not just to me, but respectfully communicate and respond to yourself? See, because if you can't respectfully communicate and respond to yourself, you're not going to respectfully communicate and respond to me.
Yes, that's true.
It depends on how people respond to you, lets you know how much they really care. Because if somebody gets combative because you're telling me, hey, you made me feel this way, and this is how I felt. Well, you just have to get over it because that person needs to be the one that's going out the door. And as soon as you get that to that point where, and I already was a person like I have zero, like my patience is so, but to understand why you're doing something. When you're doing things and you're not mad, when you're doing it because it is elevating you, then it's easy to do. You can feel it.
Did you go through this kind of like healing process at the same time that you were going through Black and Brew? Once you start releasing people that didn't serve you and didn't stop allowing people to treat you poorly, is that when the opportunities came and the blessings came?
Black and Brew is a product of me being able to know who I am, know my worth, regulate my body. And so Black and Brew and anything else I do is a product of me allowing space for the good things and the good people. And like I said, once you get on that path and you can consciously feel the energy that you're going to allow to blow through your body, or the energy that you can automatically feel the energy that you can restrict and protect your body from. Once you get in that space and you don't question it. See, sometimes you question it like, oh, they're drunk or they're whatever.
Maybe I asked them at a bad time. Maybe they're having a bad day. Okay. So you start making excuses.
That excuses for them to treat you poorly. That goes back to what one of my friends said. That goes back to what my buddy said, is that, you can say, oh, that person was drunk. And then I've always been a person to say, when somebody, another thing when people dismiss it, if you tell me, oh, this person treated me poorly or something like that, I'd be like, nah, Chimere, I am dismissing. I am telling you right then and there, I don't care how you feel because they treat me well, right?
Yes.
And then I just be like, what's your experience? Because I had to tell somebody this, that's not my experience with that person. And you standing here, trying to convince me that this person is something other than I'm telling you, is lead me to believe that you don't believe me, which I really don't care. But at the same time, it shows me, people will show you, people will respond to you respectfully, and they will communicate with you respectfully when you come to them with something really important.
That's a lot to unpack, because I think, especially, and I like how you always talk to me about regulating your nervous system, because when you're in a place of peace and a place of calm, you're able to focus. You're able to do what you did and enjoy your career, and then you open up space to do other things,
right?
Which created a trajectory, from Black and Brew to AI, and now you creating space and more opportunity to do more speaking. But there is a shedding process.
It is,
and that's painful.
It can be if you're looking at it. If you're not at peace with what you're doing, then it's painful. I was very well at peace, because once you get the taste of how it feels to be able to regulate your emotions, to have that self-awareness that's so high up there that that you're offering the best version of yourself to your friends, to your partners, to whatever. When you are that comfortable, you kind of grieve a little bit the loss. But then you see all these doors opening, because doors do not open where the universe, where you want to say God, Allah, what have you, does not. If you're going to bring that same person that's going to disrupt this blessing, then you're not going to get the blessing.
Yeah. That's something to think about.
You're going to get another experience.
Right. Or another lesson.
Another experience, another lesson. And so as that relates to all of my physiology, the way I do my meditation, the way, and that includes resting, that includes, years ago, I stopped saying no because, like, if I tell you, no, I don't want to go somewhere, I used to be like, no, I don't want to go somewhere. And I would be saying, well, almost like a tornado done hit the door, right?
Yeah.
But no, it's no, I don't want to go. I feel like just staying home and chilling and watching Tubi, right?
Yeah.
And also being honest, like, hey, I have this coming up or something like that. That goes back to people who really care about you, they will understand that. I used to have one friend, I don't care if I said I was half dead. Well, you could just go for a minute, and it was really for them.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And we take these things because we've been socialized and we normalize this type of behavior that we don't understand how much it actually contributes to all of us, like our whole being,
Yeah.
our whole being. And when you have good people around you, when you have good food, good drinks around you, when you are at peace by yourself, and when you're doing things, even if you're just laying there, if you're growing on yourself, you travel, do whatever you like, you will see these doors open. And that's why I will always say that my physiology, the way I take care of my nervous system, the way I take care of my mind, gives birth to all of this, give birth to Black and Brew. Because it also, within this, once you get past, hey, because I've been on this road for a long time.
Yeah.
Once you get past that, then you'll really start paying attention to all of the many things that are happening. And then I don't know if you read the book, The Alchemist, you will literally realize that everything that you ever needed in life, it was already in you. You just weren't ready for it.
Yeah. What do you want people to learn from your journey?
I want people to learn from my journey, at least from the way I look at things, is to get to a point where you're working so much on yourself and you're having a good time doing it, right? That when challenges come, they'll just be sort of like little mosquito bites, not train wrecks. But I do want people to understand that you are, and you don't have to find your purpose, because every last one of us are just vessels put on the face of this earth to be of service to other people.
Yeah.
And that means that every last one of us needs to start focusing, whether you do it already, on giving, learn, teaching, and pushing and pulling.
Say that again.
You give, learn, teach, push and pull. So that means whenever you learn something, teach it. Whenever you get something, give it. Whenever you get pulled up, pushed up, elevated, pull somebody else up.
Yeah.
Now we talk all of that, but a lot of people don't do it. But you'll see that even, and I'm going to tell you how I apply that to Black and Brew.
Yes, I will. Yes.
So how I apply that to Black and Brew is, yes, beer is the gateway. But when I do things with Black and Brew, it is to bring people into a room to network, to fellowship, to have ideas, to maybe collaborate, to come together to do something greater. Like so many things have come out of. So I'll give you one example. I met Sam, and this is one of the brewers from Harold's 83. And Black and Brew placed him in his first job, right? He didn't have any experience or anything. He was just telling me what was going on in his life. And at that time, now I have good relationships in the Chicago craft beer industry. And he got him the job or what have you. Just that, a couple other people called and just asked me, did I know a couple of people? Oh, yeah. But with just that act, got him a job, which got him a space to brew Harold's 83, which connected him with one of my dear, dear friends who's into education just as much as me, Jay West.
Yeah.
And which ended up spilling out when Harold's 83 was to commemorate Harold Washington, which got me invited to the Harold Washington Foundation, which ended up getting me a speaking engagement, which ended up leading me to City College Chicago.
All from helping one person.
All from having an event for Black and Brew.
Yeah.
Helping people, uplifting people, and it just went from one thing to the other. And now the speaking engagements in Canada too. So
when I think of your purpose, Mickey, I think of community.
Yeah.
But how would you articulate your purpose?
excuse me, my purpose,
or your calling in this case?
my calling is to educate as many people as I can with what I have.
Mm.
And there is opportunity within what I do that can maybe be an olive branch to somebody else to
Yeah.
get into another place. Even when there's things like people will call me and say, hey, I'm on a board or something like that. Using your influence to get them things, right?
Yeah.
To partner with certain people. And you also have to be selfless too, right? You have to understand that you can bring two people together that may have more synergy than just all three of y'all hanging out.
Yes.
It's for, they might have so much more in common
Yeah.
than, than I would, right? So just like one of my friends, and he's more of a brewer than I am. So them two being with Jason, it makes sense because they're both scientists, Fred, and he's a brewer, right? He's a home brewer. So that was a union that I think was great.
Yes, because you were connecting a brewer with a aspiring brewer scientist.
He is.
I think that's what people don't understand. Just because you connect people, you don't have to necessarily
be in the circle.
In the circle.
No.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta connect and then just let it go.
Because you connected, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna get what they brewing anyways, right? Right? And so I get to benefit that, but I think that is my overall purpose, is to create community.
Yeah.
Which that connects you with different people and different things. And now I'm able to connect people with my cousins, and because my cousins they be jamming. They run Black and Brew Chicago, Black and Brew Cleveland, and everybody runs their organization tailored to their area. It's just that they all have to do a Black and Brew. They have to do a craft beer basics at least once a quarter.
Yeah.
But
is most of them ran by a family, or how did you get leadership in those other areas?
So the one is run by family. The other one is run by like a family friend. One was from a referral.
Okay.
And then the other one is one of my craft beer friends. But we're going to go into collaboration with him. But my cousin, one of my other cousins, so yeah, two of them. So my other two cousins are going to run Black and Brew Columbus, but they're going to be in collaboration with another organization.
That's amazing. What is next? I think you did a beautiful way of like articulating your purpose of building, create opportunities, you build community. What is next for Black and Brew Chicago or Black and Brew International?
So what's next is we've been thinking about some things. I went on a beer and camera walk with Malik Shachu and Beer and Cameras.
And who is that? Malik Shachu?
Malik Shachu. He makes fabulous. He'll just walk up to you and do photography. He gives a lot of history about Chicago, and now he's in New Orleans.
Okay.
And what he did was we met at a park. We walked through Bronzeville, and it was like 50, 60, maybe 70 people that could just stop at these Black businesses that wouldn't normally get that type of business. So we were going to take shots and different pictures. So Black and Brew we're going to be taking that to conferences, that Camera and Craft. And we're also going to start that in 2026 because of the economy.
Yeah.
We can, and I always look at how many things can we touch? How many lives can we touch? So what we can do when we do Cameras and Craft, we can start at either a Black-owned business, whether it's a bookstore, a restaurant, or a brewery, and some of definitely our allies. We can go and speak to Black businesses in that community or small businesses that we know and let them know, hey, we're going to be doing a walk this time. So we could basically what is called bomb them or blitz small businesses.
Yeah.
So give them like an incubator and you could be a beginner with glasses, your iPad, your phone, your camera. So that made me go back and pick up my camera because I used to always have a camera.
You're starting to bring attention to
other business, to the whole community. Yeah. We're going to be taking pictures because it's amazing. Some of the pictures and stuff you see to walk in your communities.
Yeah.
You be like, dang, that's in this community, right? But not only are you bringing, because we had to be creative to bring more people that didn't just care about beer. Yeah. So we're going to be implementing that in all of the chapters. But we're going to start here at Black and Brew Chicago. And that's going to be to help small businesses.
Yes.
So I'm going to be posting to see, if people have any suggestions on what paths to go, because we have to talk to these businesses and do business with the businesses before we go. We're also going to be getting into, I do a lot more speaking, but just thinking out of the box, we're going to be doing a lot of collaborations that not only go to beer, but we're even changing this from Black and diversity in beer to diversity in craft. So it's going to be craft food, spirits, wine, beer, because now, and it's cigars, everything.
Yes.
Everybody, and of course, cannabis. But everybody has to come together because the economy is so bad.
Yeah, so we need each other.
We need each other, so we're going to be creating those type of partnerships, so that all of us, but we're also going to be bringing like-minded people together that can also build business or community and camaraderie without that. So we're thinking much more outside of the box.
What is next for you as on a personal level? Because I feel like you have your hands in a lot of things professionally. Black and Brew is essentially your baby. You do your AI, but when I ask you, like, what is for you at this point? What is it that you need, or what you're aspiring to just do for yourself to give you even more peace and fulfillment?
What I'm doing, which is good, is I'm definitely going to being intentional on spending time with really my loved ones, like the ones that have been there for forever. So we are planning different reunions for our college friends that have gone off, because we want to come together a little bit more before you go into a funeral, right? So I'm going to be intentional on those relationships. Who knows? I don't know what kind of relationships will come out, but I think that everything happens the way it's supposed to happen.
Yes, I agree.
So one thing I'm going to do is definitely you can incorporate beer, and of course going to conferences and different things like that. But I'm being more intentional with spending time with my family. Like I'm going to like a cousin's trip around Christmas.
Okay.
Just things that I travel, but traveling with a purpose. Like I would travel myself, be wanting to go to all the breweries.
Yes.
But being more intentional and spending more time and touching base and seeing where people are. Like, what do you really like? I would love to have a bottle shop that would host like brands of different franchise communities, like carry Black stuff, LGBT women owned beer. There's one, Harlem Hops in New York, that does that.
Okay,
that would be great to do, but right now we have to see where this dust is going to land with the economy. But yeah, with that just growing, and making sure that my relationships with everybody, my friends, my family, the ones that's left. No, I'm just playing, but
that got dark.
Right. I'm just playing. But no, but definitely making sure that intentionally to make sure those relationships are being nurtured as well.
Yeah. How can people get in touch with you and learn more about Black and Brew Chicago, or maybe tap into taking a course?
I'm on Instagram at Bab Chicago. I'm at Black and Brew Chicago on Instagram. And my website is babchicago.com. I have a website for Bab AI Solutions, but it has not been connected to my domain yet.
Yeah.
So I could do that. But yeah, they could definitely reach out. I do workshops. I do collaborations. If there are anybody that thinks that they can benefit some kind of way with a collaboration with Black and Brew, let's talk.
Yeah. And I always try to end my episodes on a positive note. So I give my guests an option on maybe giving people that are in the midst of a crossroads or trying to intersect both profession and passion, either some how-tos, or you have an opportunity to just give someone a word of encouragement.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I always like to encourage people and just let people know that you are definitely here for a purpose. You are serving a higher purpose for somebody at that time. So you just need to find just every day. I feel like every day you get up and you know that you are here to be of service to somebody. I don't care if you just give them a blessing, a prayer, or what have you. If you always practice on thinking positive, even in dark times, because we do have those thoughts
Yes.
and those negative thoughts. But my advice to anybody, I don't ever want to tell you how to feel, but I do want you to practice, at least practice some type of meditation, paying more attention to your nervous system, not necessarily feeling like you have to get on the floor and do all that kind of stuff. Practice and meditate and pray where you are. It makes you the most comfortable, and pay attention more to your brain and your nervous system, and just try to just be a good human being. And definitely say no when you don't feel like it.
Yeah.
Like it. Definitely say no. So
I think that's key. Definitely say no. And don't do things that you're at the expense of yourself. It's something else that you said too.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, because peace comes. You don't chase anything, right? You can't chase peace. You know, people say, I'm looking for peace. You can't look for peace. You feel peace.
Say that again.
You can't look for peace. You feel peace.
Yeah.
And feeling peace is being kind to yourself, and like I said, always respectfully speaking to yourself properly. And peace will come.
Yeah.
And when you mentioned it being painful, a lot of people get sort of like thrown off by thinking, oh, this journey is going to be painful. Oh, I have to do this. And everything does not have to be painful. Life, we all know that life is crazy. But one thing that I believe, and I'm just going to say that what I believe in love, and that's what I think that I could leave with people. Love to me is a positive energy, and that you transfer to other bodies by way of your actions. And the two most important actions and things that you could do for people is to be considerate and kind. Empathy, compassion. So as long as you know that you're supposed to be an energy that is transferring positive energy to other people's body, just do that. Just try and be a good person.
Yeah.
Just try it. It works out pretty good.
It
right?
works out in the end.
And also definitely, like I said, boundaries. Boundaries come along with that. I think that sometimes people get lost and think, oh, I'm supposed to be nice to everybody. I'm supposed to. No, you're supposed to, when you are in tune with yourself, that peace comes with boundaries. Peace comes with kindness. Peace comes with consideration. It comes to you.
It does come. Mickey, I want to thank you so much for visiting Crossroads and Callings and sharing your journey and some of your wisdom.
Absolutely.
It has been a pleasure to host you. And as I pose this to the listeners, please feel free to reach out to Mickey on all her social media handles. We also have these great Black and Brew Chicago shirts, so we repping today. She also has this amazing book that you can reach out and get from her as well. But I also want to hear like what you got from her journey, any lessons learned. Give us some positivity. We would love to hear from you. Crossroads and Callings can be found on all social media platforms, all podcasting platforms, and YouTube. So thank you so much for listening. And I also want to thank the National Public Housing Museum. They have been such an amazing partner, allowing us to utilize this space to give more light and positivity into the world. And on that note, use your crossroads to find your calling.